What is happening, everyone? So I wanted to check out a review for No Rest for the Wicked. Now, I dropped about 10 hours in it. It was about $35. It is in early access, but I ran into a ton of issues, from frame rate drops to freezing to crashing. Actually, when I first bought the game and downloaded it, I loaded it up. It took about 5 to 10 minutes to even get into the game. I don't know if anybody else was having an issue with that. I got a pretty high-end computer. I got the 4090 in there. I ran Drunken's Dogma 2 on there, which a lot of people know had a lot of issues, but this one gave me even more issues, if that makes sense. I wanted to check out this review. It says, does it suck? I don't think it sucks. I had fun with the actual gameplay, but as it is in early access, they are charging $35 for it, which is a little bit crazy for all these issues we're running into right now. But I wanted to check out this review, guys, see if we agree with it, because I wanted to see who else ran into any of these issues. This caught my eye, so let's jump in.
What's up, gamers? dreamcastguy here, and this is Does It Suck? The show where we take a deep dive look at a new game and see what's good or bad about it. Today we're going to be discussing No Rest for the Wicked.
I don't think it sucks.
This is developed by the people
But it has a
that
ton of
made
issues.
Ori and the Blind Forest, but now they've decided to basically make their own version of Dark Souls. Yes, that's right. What we're looking at is pretty much Diablo Dark Souls. It's a game with co-op and exploration and daily quests, but also with some slow, difficult...
Guys, I wanted to stop it right there. I'm a huge Dark Souls Elden Ring fan. This game was annoyingly hard. I felt like the enemies were a little bit spongy. I felt like they were making the game hard on purpose. Let me know in the comments if you found it that way also. I wanted to see what he says before. I just wanted to drop that out there just to see what he says.
And incredibly brutal fights. Let's talk about the goods and the bads, because
All right, let's
even
see.
in this early version of it, as much fun as I'm having, it's kind of busted.
Big time.
Let's discuss. Hi, I hope you're having a good day. If you could, give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, let me just say right up front, this is technically in early access. It costs $35 to play this version of the game. It sounds like it's going to be a full $70
Wait,
here in a couple of months.
$70 Are you kidding me? I don't think this game is worth $70. They're gonna drop another, so that's another 35. It's taxes. It's gonna be like, what is it? 75, 70, because I put in 43 on this. That's crazy. This is not a AAA game. Damn, I did not know that.
Year, and you can tell that it's going to need a lot of work.
Big
the
time.
developers have said this early access version is roughly 25 hours of content. So yesterday, because I was so excited, I decided to sit down and play it for a little bit over 10 straight hours.
Okay.
Trying to defeat some bosses, level up my gear, and really test the systems. And I must say, this is a project with a ton of potential. I'm obsessed with Diablo. I've got a big Diablo tattoo, but I'm also a big Dark Souls fan. So
Damn, Diablo
seeing
tattoo?
someone
Crazy.
attempt to merge those concepts is incredibly interesting. But let me break down just on a surface level how this works and what parts of it definitely kind of fall apart. No Rest for the Wicked is the kind of game that's about making your own character. You make a dude, and then you get crash landed on this terrible, corrupted island. We're some legendary hero, and so essentially, when everybody else dies, they stay dead. Whereas we can come back again and again. There's these blue checkpoints throughout the game that you're going
Like
to
bonfires.
encounter. Whenever you die, you go back to that.
Okay.
The most recent one you touched is the one that you will respawn at, which means you really have a chance to...
Guys, one point I would like to make on that too is, like, when you go back and you rest, the enemies don't come back, which is kind of funny because you cannot actually farm if you wanted to, which is kind of weird. I found that weird. And their damage, whatever you leave their damage at, their damage is still the same. So if you got them down to half, you come back and it's about half. This was a little weird. I didn't like it because you couldn't really farm, but I do think if you leave the town and you wait a couple minutes, then you come back, then you're able to farm. But let's see if he says anything about that too.
To kind of throw yourself into combat and die perpetually and not really worry about your character de-leveling or some sort of terrible permanent cost. Now, when you're fighting, you're going to notice that things are very slow. Now, this
Yeah.
obviously has a bunch of fighting that is heavily based upon the Dark Souls or Elden
Yep.
Ring
Roll,
style of
roll.
combat, meaning that it does have a stamina system. It's got parries, it's got blocks, it's got dodge rolls. But more than that, this is the kind of game where every single encounter can go terribly wrong.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about Dark Souls is the fact that you can't really relax. Anybody can kill you, and that's the way this is. From crabs to random zombies to bandits, everybody, if they have a chance, is going to instantly kill you. But here's where the game really sets itself apart. This is a structured adventure. It's
Yeah,
not
you got to go in one
randomized, it's
direction.
not procedurally generated. The quest
You can't
I'm going on
multiple
is the
different
quest
areas.
you are going on. But
Uh-huh.
while you're doing this, leveling up is not really done in the typical sense. So, like, the way this works is that enemies don't just instantly
Oh,
respawn.
here we go. Yeah.
If you're fighting through like a big decayed fort and somebody manages to drop a barrel on your head and kill you or whatever, then when you go back to that previous checkpoint, nothing has respawned, meaning that you have a bunch of chances to go through a particular area.
Yeah.
But if you want to try and truly purposefully gain levels, grind and get yourself permanently stronger, you're going to have to actually backtrack.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel about that, guys. Let me know in the comments down below, because you kind of can exploit Dark Souls and Elden Ring by farming the same enemies over and over and over and over. But after a while, it gets harder because it's less XP. But let me know in the comments, guys. I'd like to know if that bothered you in this game if you did play it, because it's kind of annoying to me.
And this brings me to one of the major downsides I had with the game, which is two separate things at once. First off, this fog of war system. Since the map is permanently established and there's definitely a correct direction to be moving, at least in this early access version of it, it makes it where if you want to try and grind and level up, you would think that you could just run in circles and kill enemies again and again and again.
Definitely
but
cannot.
they all stay dead.
Yep.
Instead, you need to leave an area for about 20 minutes so the
Yeah.
map becomes covered up again. The fog of war
Yeah.
will actually recede. It'll come back. And as the map gets recovered, re-exploring it means the monsters have come back.
They wanted to
which
do
means a
their
lot
own
of
thing, which I
times
understand.
The best way to level is to go to town, pick up some daily quests, and do what they say, whether it is go kill crabs in a fort or go pick up some random herbs or try and mine some materials. And I feel like this system on paper is interesting, but to me, it does kind of suck. If I
It's
want
tedious.
to level
It's
up,
tedious.
I should be able to just kill some monsters. It feels weird that I have to do this really big, overly time-consuming method. Now, when you hit enough XP, you instantly level up. It's not like you have to go back to a checkpoint or rest in town or anything
I like that,
like
actually.
When you've gotten enough experience points, you immediately level up. And this does have the standard stat system. You get 3 stat points per level. You can put it into health, strength, stamina, and then a bunch of magic talent trees that I never got a chance to use any of those.
Yeah, I
don't
was
know
doing a
what any of
strength
those
build.
do. I mean, I'm probably going to make a magic character at some point, but in this early version, since I'm obsessed with Berserk, I decided to make a character with a giant heavy two-hander. But the other part of this that I just really didn't like is weapon degradation.
Oh my God,
All
that was
your
so
gear
annoying.
breaks when you die. That's the way it works in Diablo, but this isn't that.
Guys, another thing too. I don't know if they were trying to copy from like Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, because also with your healing, you got to cook food, which kind of is annoying because then you got to go all the way back to a fire to cook to make some meals. So when you're facing a boss, it's like you got to prep and know when to heal. And maybe some people like it. I don't know. I felt like that was more Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and especially with the weapons too.
Style of game. Like when you're playing Diablo, dying hundreds and hundreds of times completely makes sense because you're just throwing yourself around a big, fun, randomized map. Whereas here, if I'm supposed to be attempting a boss fight, like part of the fun of Dark Souls or slow heavy games like this is just bashing yourself against a boss over and over and over again to learn their mechanics, to learn their attacks, and perfectly dodge it for that final win. But here, every time you die, you lose 10% of your total weapon durability, which means you have to keep teleporting back to town to fix your gear
Repair it.
over and over and over again. And additionally, if you're under leveled, it kind of sucks because it goes, okay, now I have to completely leave this area, go to a previous area, and actually level up there. And now when I want to fight that boss again, I have to re-clear that entire dungeon because it doesn't save. You can have one current checkpoint. You can't teleport to any checkpoint you want, which means that if you're at the back of a dungeon and that's your current checkpoint, you got to fight your way all the way out and then later all the way back in.
Yep.
I feel like I'm complaining a lot, but I do want to say that I am enjoying this game for what it currently is. I think the art is great. I think the visual presentation
I thought it looked beautiful
is
also.
awesome. I do think the fighting is incredibly fun. I guess I'm just confused by the hundreds of tiny choices that to me don't fully make sense. The menus are messy. The optimization is terrible.
It
if
is,
you
it
actually
is.
look at this game currently
Holy
on
crap.
Steam, the reviews are very negative because a lot of people are saying it straight up doesn't run. I mean, you're probably saying, okay, Dreamcast guy, that's a cute cat, but how does this run on Steam Deck? It pretty much doesn't run on Steam Deck. And
Guys, speaking of Steam Deck, I wasn't even actually mentioned this. I tried to play it on Steam Deck. No fucking way, man. No way at all. It did not run. So I felt like they should have not charged for this, honestly. Should have been a demo at first. But I guess they're going to fix out the kinks. We'll see. But I'm still a little upset about that $70 mark.
to me, that is disappointing. I mean, Diablo 4 runs on freaking Steam Deck better than this game, which has objectively way worse graphics. I know this game is going to improve. I guess I'm just a little bit disappointed about its current state. I do see people already refunding and stuff. I think the character movement is good. The combat is
like I said, the
awesome.
combat is really good.
The weightiness of these boss fights, everything that is currently in here on paper totally makes sense. I just wish we had some extra options. They are going to be releasing lots of patches coming soon. I believe one of the first major patches they've already announced will be co-op, so other people can play.
I don't really
with
play
you.
co-op
That's
too
gonna
much.
be great. I mean, I'm gonna keep playing this. To be very clear, I have 11 hours in this in just that first day, and I'm gonna play a lot more of it.
around the same.
The core concept of this seems to be the exact game I have always dreamed of. It's just that stuff like weapon degrading,
That
stuff
I don't like at all.
random loot, but in a non-random world, the idea of like puzzles in zones that are just so difficult. This game again and again feels like it's trying to be hard instead of trying to be fun. And while it is fun, it's definitely
See, that's what I was saying, guys. It's like an annoying kind of hard. It's like tedious. It just where you could actually rage and quit and then not play it again. It's not like Dark Souls hard or Elden Ring hard if you guys didn't play. Let me know what you think about that one too, because I'm kind of curious if this is might be just have to improve, but I found that a little bit annoying.
way more in the brutal side than it is in the entertaining side. Like, one of the toughest aspects of this game that definitely frustrated me the most is that there isn't a standard potion system.
Oh, here we go.
You will occasionally find stuff that will restore your mana or your stamina and stuff like that. But when it comes to healing yourself, you have to pick fruit or pick up mushrooms and herbs and stuff like that, and then take
Go
those
all the way
materials
back to the fire,
a
like I was
campfire
saying.
and cook dishes. This is the only way to heal in the entire
Unless I
game
missed
that I
something
have
too.
found so far in my first 10 hours. And you know why that's annoying? Because it means that when I'm trying bosses, I have a total finite amount
Gotta
of
get
attempts
good.
because I'm going to run out of potions. I'm going to run out of weapon durability. I'm going to run out of patience. And to me, it sucks that sometimes I would save up my extremely tiny amount of healing items for an hour, dying against something perpetually, hoping, all right, now this is an attempt that is worth actually healing. And to me, that does kind of suck. I wish this game was not more forgiving. I don't think that's the word I'm looking for. I wish this game was a little bit better tuned. But
Makes more
obviously,
sense.
this is the first day of early access. It's going to get better. I think currently there isn't even keybinds, or you can't program keybinds. it's early access, but if
I
you're
didn't know
charging
that.
$35 for early access,
That's
I
my
think I'm
problem
allowed to
too.
roast it like a standard full price total release game. I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. I hope you guys are as well. But what do you guys think about No Rest for the Wicked? I mean, certainly to me, I'm going to be keeping my eye on this, and I'm definitely going to keep playing it. But tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe.
All right, guys. So I agree with a lot of what he said. He didn't really say if it sucked or not. He said he's gonna keep his eye on it, see if it improves. I think he just did it for clickbait title. No big deal. As far as me suggesting it, it's kind of hard to say. I would wait till some patches come out. It is fun. I didn't really like the cooking aspect, and like he said with the healing, and they're trying to just make it hard. It's not like too enjoyable in that sense either. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Did you guys refund this? Are you guys playing it, or are you guys gonna wait till full release? I'm gonna hang on to it. It's 35 bucks I already spent. I'll see if it improves, but hopefully we get some better patches coming on, because I really wanted to enjoy this game. I'm a huge Dark Souls fan. I do like Diablo. I'm not as big as a Diablo fan as I am a Dark Souls fan. Like I said, hopefully this patches up. The combat, I love. The cutscenes, I was dropping frame rates like crazy, was freezing up. So hopefully, you know, in the next couple months they fix this up. But I really disagree with that $70 price tag, guys. I will catch you in the next one.